Hello, boys and girls. Greg from the Scary Spirits podcast here to make another drink with you. Today we are making a gin and tonic, which is the feature drink in today's episode. So we're going to take our glass. We're going to add four ice cubes. 2, four ice cubes. To that, we're going to take our gin. We are going to add 2 ounces of gin. 1, 2. Next, our tonic. Fun thing about tonic, kids, under black light it glows. I think I mentioned that before, but so keep that in mind if you're doing, a Halloween party. You have lots of black lights. We're going to add 4 ounces tonic water. 1, 2, 3, 4. Next, we're going to add 1 tablespoon lime juice from the plastic lime. There you go. Next, directions say to stir well with a long neck spoon. So that is what I am using. That is what the directions say. That is what I am doing. And then we serve immediately with a lime wedge as garnish if you have one. I do not. Yeah, that's pretty tasty. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy the podcast. See ya.
If someone asks you to walk like Frankenstein, you probably stiffen your legs, outstretch your arms, and totter slowly forward. If this is the case, you have this week's movie on the Scary Spirits podcast, number 39, The Wolfman Meets Frankenstein, to thank for your silly impression. All because they did Bela dirty. You see, Bela Lugosi plays Frankenstein's monster in this movie in a manner consistent with the previous film in the franchise, which is to say, blind. The powers that be decided to change that premise, unfortunately without reshooting any of the scenes, resulting in the laughable, awkward ambling and cartoonish acting. I stand firm in my opinion that Bela deserved better. Cheers.
Welcome to the Scary Spirits podcast. Please be advised that the presenters may use adult language and/or discuss adult situations. This podcast is not intended for younger listeners or those that may be easily offended. So, if you're ready, let's go.
Hi, I'm Greg.
Hi, I'm Karen.
And welcome to the Scary Spirits podcast, the podcast that combines the two very different
but highly compatible worlds of scary films and alcoholic spirits.
What could possibly go wrong?
Indeed. How are you, Karen?
I'm doing great. How are you, Greg?
I'm good.
That's good.
Yeah, I'm feeling good because I did the intro right that time, Karen.
You usually do.
Yeah, usually I do, but not always.
No,
Apparently.
there are some good ones.
All right, Karen, anything we need to cover from last week's episode, which I believe was
Werewolf in London.
Werewolf in London. Yeah, the OG Universal werewolf film.
I don't. I think we were excellent.
Look. Nope, I think we're good.
I'll
right,
take
Karen.
your word for it.
All right, Karen, I believe this week's film was your choice. Was it not?
It was my choice.
And Karen, what film have you chosen to subject us to this week?
I chose Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman to continue our wolf series at the Scary Spirits podcast.
Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman.
Wait a second. When does this come out? The 19th?
Yeah, 19th.
So we're 2 days past the full moon. So everyone survived.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
our listener survived.
If you're listening to this, yeah.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Yeah. If our numbers go down this week, then we know it's because the werewolf got them because of the full moon.
Exactly. That's what I'm going with.
All right. 1943, you say, Karen.
Well, I
Frankenstein
didn't,
meets
but
the
you
werewolf.
did.
Yeah, I did.
Yes.
That's
yes.
when lots of interesting births that year, Karen.
Not you.
Would you like to know some?
Not me. I wonder who was born that year.
So Mick Jagger was born in July of that year. Robert De Niro in August. Janis Joplin in January. George Harrison. Barry Manilow was born in 1943. Roger Waters from Pink Floyd. You know who Pink Floyd is, Karen?
Vaguely.
Jim Morrison from The Doors, Karen. Joe Namath, Billie Jean King, John Denver, and Sharon Tate. Karen, you know who Sharon Tate was?
Yes, I do.
Yes. I'm trying to keep it positive on my yearly trivia, but I thought that was interesting. She was born in January of 1943. January 24th, to be exact. So, some interesting inventions in 1943, Karen. Do you know of any?
Not off the top of my head. What do you got?
Synthetic rubber was invented.
Okay.
Don't know who invented it. Richard James invented the slinky, Karen.
Oh,
Did you have a slinky?
Of course. Didn't you?
Yeah, I had one.
We didn't have stairs in our house, though, so that was a bummer. Yeah.
Maybe not when I got my slinky, though. Well, yeah, I think we did. I think we had a basement.
We had stairs that go down to the basement, but it wasn't the same.
James Wright, Karen. He invented something. Does that name mean anything to you? James Wright with a W-R-I-G-H-T.
Is he related to the Wright brothers?
No idea.
No, I don't know. What did he invent?
He invented silly putty.
Oh, had that too. There wasn't a whole lot to do with that, but did you smash it down on the newspaper comics and pull up the comic and look at your silly putty?
I did, Karen.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I did.
That's exactly what I did. And I made it into a ball and bounced it around.
Yep.
Swiss chemist Albert Hofmann discovered the hallucinogenic properties of LSD, Karen, in 1943.
I wonder how he did that.
I do not know. I can guess.
I can guess too.
And finally, Karen, Emile Gagnon and Jacques Cousteau. Any idea what they invented? A dual credited invention in 1943.
Jacques Cousteau.
Yeah. Do you recognize that name, Karen? Jacques Cousteau.
Yeah, he had the show. Remember, he explored the oceans.
Yeah. What do you think he invented in 1943, or had a part in inventing in 1943?
Scuba gear.
I'm going to give it to you.
the aqua lung.
Mm,
So that means that would allow you to go scuba diving, I guess. Right?
I would guess. I don't know. Have you been scuba diving?
Never.
I only did it once in a pool. It's a very weird sensation
I can
to
imagine.
let yourself breathe underwater. It takes a lot of practice, I would guess, to do it well, because it's just counterintuitive. You don't think that you should be doing it.
Yeah, it lets a person breathe in and out through the same mouthpiece. This is basically the important part of the device. There you go, Karen.
Now we know.
All right, Karen. Frankenstein meets the Wolfman. Might you have a brief synopsis?
I do.
Oh, good.
It's the one time when I just make you happy. I like that.
Ah. It will make me even happier if you have the same one I have. Go on.
I was going to say, are you pulling up the list of things that I do that make you happy?
No, I'm pulling up my synopsis to see if yours matches mine. Go on.
Frankenstein meets the Wolfman. Lawrence Talbot is plagued by a physical oddity that turns him into a crazed werewolf after sundown. His desire to rid himself of this ailment leads him to the castle owned by mad scientist Dr. Frankenstein. Frankenstein, it turns out, is now dead, yet Talbot believes that the scientist's daughter, Baroness Elsa Frankenstein, can help him. However, his quest to right himself puts him on a collision course with Frankenstein's monster.
Thank you, Karen, for that brief but accurate synopsis.
It wasn't that brief. We've had many
It
far
was
briefer ones.
It was brief enough. It was just the correct amount of brevity. Might we have a cocktail for this episode, Karen?
We do.
Oh my God, thank God. What could it be? Please tell us what it is, the ingredients needed, and exactly how to make it.
Wow, the pressure's on. So this week we're going to do a gin and tonic. The ingredients are 2 ounces of gin, 4 to 6 ounces of tonic water to taste, and a lime wedge for garnish. Here's how you're going to make it. Gather your ingredients. In a highball glass filled with ice cubes, pour the gin, then top with tonic. Gently stir to combine, but not so much that you lose carbonation. Garnish with a lime wedge. Serve and...
Enjoy, Karen?
Yes, enjoy.
Okay, so you serve with a lime wedge. There's no lime juice in it? Your recipe?
Not in this one, no. This one's from spruceeats.com.
Mm-hmm. The recipe I used includes lime juice in the recipe.
I squeezed some lime into mine, and I rimmed the top of the glass so I can get the scent and a little bit of taste.
It is very refreshing, actually.
It is. It's kind of a summer drink, I guess, but...
Any reason you chose this cocktail, Karen?
There is. This was my mom's favorite drink. And one of the reasons I started this podcast, and I've mentioned it many times before with Greg, is my mom loved these old movies. So, and this movie that we're going to watch was something that she would definitely have viewed multiple times. These are the kind that she enjoyed. And this is the time of year when she's passed. So this is just a cheers to Annette. Here, clink my glass.
There.
Cheers to Mom.
Cheers.
Should we give our listener time to make the drink?
Absolutely.
Go gather your ingredients and get ready to serve and enjoy.
Hold on. And we're back. So basically, you're saying your mom liked crappy old horror movies. Is that what you're saying?
But good gin and tonics.
Not to give it away. Not to give this episode away, but
she did.
Like
but
cheesy old crappy horror movies.
She might have exemplified our slogan of the movies might be iffy, but the drinks are always solid. My mom would be on board with that. And I did ask my siblings, and they knew
They knew.
that this was, you probably don't remember at the end of last week's podcast, I said this was her favorite drink. And then I thought, oh, I wonder if it is, because that was my impression of it. So
Well, yeah,
I
that's
asked
what you told me. I do remember that. Yeah.
And I asked my siblings what their opinion of her favorite drink was, and it was this. So,
Okay, Karen, are we ready to get into Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman from 1943?
oh, let's.
All right. So the first thing that came up when I was watching it is that it is rated 13 plus, Karen.
That surprises me.
Yeah, makes sense.
Why? You think it's scary?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe.
I think the other ones we've watched have been worse off than that. Oh, well, some of those
Well,
said
there were
18
18 plus. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Do the rankings that come up, are they for the time that they were made, or are they for now?
I assume now. Don't know. Next, we see a laboratory, what appears to be a laboratory, or a table in a laboratory.
It's a
And
close up of a lab bench, is
Yeah.
what they, yeah.
And someone is making a smoky drink, I wrote.
There's some dry ice and some glassware.
Well, it almost looked like they added a chemical to make it kind of, smoke or fog or whatever.
But if you look closely, you can see the dry ice bouncing
Is it?
around in the bottom. Yeah.
Okay. So maybe there's a piece of dry ice in the thing they poured into it to make it do all that shit.
Yeah. And I thought they were cool graphics, because the smoke would kind of bubble up and then the words for the credits would come down.
Yeah, and we have credits. That's the next thing I have. Yes.
But it was a neat way to do it, I thought. I had hope at the beginning that this was going to be better than I thought.
After the credits, we see a full moon, Karen.
And a windy cemetery.
Yeah, and a sign that says, "Here lies the dead of Landwelly." I did make a note that the crow is a nice touch, because we see
I
two
did
men
too.
entering the cemetery, and there's a crow
There's
on the
two.
pillar. Yeah, there is.
And they're cawing. So I wondered if they were somehow somebody's trained birds or something. They were.
I'm sure.
It added a lot of spookiness to it, I thought. I
Yeah.
love crows, so that was cool.
It was almost a murder of crows, Karen.
How many do you need for a murder?
I don't know. And we see two men walking down steps into a cemetery, which I thought was interesting. It's like a submerged cemetery
Yeah, you'd think it would flood a lot.
in a
but-
hillside or some shit. And they walk up to the crypt that says Talbot.
Yeah, they're carrying lanterns, walking through. And it, like I said, the cemetery is very windy.
One man helps another climb over and get into the crypt via the window above the locked door.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
high window.
Yeah, apparently it's been broken out or something.
So he hoists him up and he goes through. And then what happens? The other dude goes through.
He just climbs right up. Well, he's much
Like it-
larger than the other guy.
But is he Spider-Man? I mean, how did he get
I
up
don't
the
know,
wall?
he's larger. He
Yeah,
could probably
right.
jump up and grab the ledge and pull himself in.
Okay, we'll go with that.
Yeah, I was okay with that. They start looking at the names in the crypt, and eventually they come upon Lawrence Stewart Talbot. And his is like the predominant one, right in the fucking center of the crypt, right? Everyone else is in the wall somewhere, but his is like the freestanding crypt covered by a huge stone, right?
Yes.
And it said, "Who died at the youthful age of 31. R.I.P." Karen.
Mhm. Yep.
And the men recite that just in case we can't read it for ourselves.
Exactly.
And apparently they're grave robbers, Karen, because they're hoping he was buried with his gold watch. I wrote. That's what they
And-
talk about.
And money in his
money.
pockets and a ring, I think.
So they use a crowbar or something, open the crypt and push the huge stone over. And I thought that probably made a hell of a loud noise, but whatever.
What, they're going to wake the dead?
Maybe. I don't know. And they find dead flowers in there, Karen. And
one of the men recognized it as Wolfbane.
So whenever anybody in any of these movies sees Wolfbane or hears the word Wolfbane, what do they say?
They recite the poem, Karen. But this one is different than the first one.
It is.
Because this one puts in the tagline, when the moon is full and bright, instead of when the autumn moon is full and bright, or something like that, right? And not the original poem.
Yes, the original one. Are you going to recite the whole thing?
No, Karen.
Even a man who's pure of heart and says his prayers by night may become a wolf when the wolfbane blooms and the moon is full and bright. That's what this one is.
Yes.
So in previous movies, it was when the autumn moon is bright, I think. It didn't say anything about it being full.
I think you're
so
right.
They've changed it now to the full moon.
Yeah, so apparently even a man who is pure at heart and says his prayers can turn into a werewolf every month instead of just in the autumn, right?
Right.
And I made a note that Lawrence looks very well preserved for having been in there 4 years, we learn later.
I agree.
Because they even say he should be bones, which is skeleton by now, right?
But that doesn't stop him.
Nope. They begin taking his jewelry, one of his rings.
He looks like he's asleep.
Yes. And that's what they say. But then Lawrence turns and grabs the man by the arm, Karen, because, of course, the full moon is shining into his crypt. Correct?
Yeah, it has long fingernails. And it grabs him. Yeah.
And
Grabs the one who took the ring.
Yeah. The other man drops his lantern and bolts.
Yeah, so the robber who took the ring and Lawrence grabs his arm, he's yelling, "Help me, help me." And his buddy just runs off and abandons him. Yep. Too bad for you.
Drops the lantern and looks like it starts a fire.
Yeah, it does.
Although his body in the crypt is not burnt when we see it later. But anyway, next we cut to a copper, Karen, making his rounds. A bobby. Is that what they call him?
Yeah, a bobby. The
Bobby.
popo. The popo here in the States, but yeah, it's a bobby.
Yeah. And he's finds a man who he thinks is drunk and passed out on the sidewalk there. Turns out it's Lawrence. Apparently he's had a nasty hit to the head somehow. And the cop blows his whistle.
We know what the head injury's from. I think it's when his dad whacked him, isn't it?
You think? It goes all the way back to then?
I thought it was, but
Okay,
maybe
that
not.
Could be. That would make sense.
But you figure it's been 4 years, so he's been out 48 nights, right?
Yeah.
Once a month. So it's surprising that because all his other wounds heal immediately. So maybe not. Maybe I'm overthinking it. I thought it was because the silver on the cane did it to his head, but not important. He ends up in the hospital.
At Queen's Hospital, Karen.
Yes.
The doctor comes in and is surprised that Lawrence is awake and talking after the operation.
The critical operation.
Yes. Doctor goes in and begins talking to Lawrence, and Lawrence says, he asked if he has any pain, and Lawrence says no. Apparently he had a skull fracture, I wrote, which makes sense. And Lawrence tells him his name and where he is from. The cop is there too. He wants to know. Next, we see the police calling the police station at Lanwelly.
Not to throw a wrench in all this, but maybe this is the first time he's out, because I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah, it's the first time he's out.
So he hasn't done this 48 times.
No.
It's just because they broke in.
And let the moonlight shine on his body.
Let the moon. Okay, gotcha. So disregard all I said before. He hasn't. So it could still be the injury from his dad.
Yes. Yeah.
That's probably what it is. Okay. So he could live outside of his wolfbane lined coffin casket, but the moonlight has never hit him until
he was
gotcha.
sealed.
So they just
That's what I
happened
thought.
To break in
On a full moon.
That was their error. Okay, gotcha. All right. Makes much more sense to me now.
All right, kids. So make a note of that.
If you're going to break into cemeteries and grave rob,
Not a full moon.
do it in the new moon. That's probably the best time.
Yeah, it'd be harder for you to see, but it's best all around.
That's what lanterns are for, Karen.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So the police call the police station at Lanwelly and they ask if they know of a Lawrence Talbot. And they say, yeah, he died 4 years ago. And the police officer then wants to question Larry, but the doctor says, no, he's not your suspect. He's my patient.
Well, yeah, they think
First.
the patient's an imposter.
Yeah, they think that since Larry's been dead 4 years, he's assuming
Exactly.
the name.
Yes.
Right? And the doctor tells him, no, he will decide when he can be questioned, much like the original Wolfman, Karen.
They're always protecting Larry.
The Talbots, yes.
Yeah.
Next, we see the full moon shining again, Karen, and it shines on Larry in his hospital bed. And he turns. I need to ask. So really, there's only one full moon a month, right? Technically.
You would think,
But
technically.
the night before and the night after, it's probably full enough to be called almost full, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know. Hold on. Maybe we can find out. Okay, the moon can appear to be full a day before or after when is more than 98% of the moon's disk is lit up.
Okay. It can appear to be full.
Well, to the werewolf, it appears to be full, I guess. So that could be 2 to 3 days.
Okay. So Larry turns. Next, we see another Bobby making his rounds in the town. And he sees Larry jumping around as the Wolfman. And he goes to investigate, and he gone.
Yeah, it was abrupt. It kind of startled me. And they have him jumping all around.
Yep.
It's kind of funny.
Next, we cut to the next day, and Larry is in his hospital bed, but the window is open and his bandages are removed.
He's kind of sprawled across the bed.
Much like he was in the first film, Karen.
Yeah.
And Larry tells the doctor to call the police. He is a murderer. He wants to confess his crimes. The doctor tells Larry that someone was indeed killed the night before, but they were attacked by some wild animal.
He tries to tell the doctor.
And the police arrive, and Larry tries to tell them that he changes into a wolf and that he killed the constable. The police don't believe him. This is when Larry realizes he can't die.
Yeah, nobody believes him.
And he uses the line, "You're treating me like a lunatic."
He does.
Do you know where that term comes from, Karen? Lunatic?
No, where does it come from?
Well, I know Luna means moon, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm asking you. You should know this, Dr. Karen. Loon.
Now I have to know the origins of all the words.
Lunatic.
Lunaticus is late Latin, Old
Right.
French, lunatic, Middle English. From the belief that changes of the moon caused intermittent insanity.
And epilepsy, from what I'm reading. And it's the King James version of the Bible, Karen. Lunatic. And the Gospel of Matthew, which has been interpreted as a reference to epilepsy. Yeah, by the 4th and 5th centuries, astrologers commonly used the term to refer to neurological and psychiatric diseases.
Well, it says refers to a kind of insanity supposedly dependent on the phases of the moon. But then it just kind of morphed into all types of insanity.
Yeah. Did you know, Karen, that until at least 1700, it was also common belief that the moon influenced fevers, rheumatism, and other diseases?
No.
Yeah. So something we learned today.
So it's not just werewolfery.
No.
It's lots of things.
Yeah.
Blamed on the moon.
Blame it on the moon.
when he says you're treating me like a lunatic, 4 guys, it takes 4 guys to get him into the straitjacket, but they do get him into the jacket.
Correct.
So you're right. He says that, but then they absolutely treat him like a lunatic.
Next, the doctor and the cop are in the doctor's office, and the doctor tells the cop that Larry is a lycanthrope, a man who imagines himself to be a wolf during a full moon.
So I wanted to know if that was actually a psychological disorder, lycanthropy. And it is. It is considered a mental disorder, but it's a little bit wider of a definition where the patient believes that they transform into an animal. Yeah. So it's a variant of delusional misidentification syndrome. And from what I could find in a brief search, it's rare. It's been, 24 cases in the medical literature over the past 20 years. But that was an older study. So it looks like it's about 1 a year, approximately. But I did find that there was a case in February of 2021 where a 25-year-old man thought he had transformed into a buffalo. So it is not just something they're throwing in the movie. It's an actual disorder, although a very, very rare one.
Okay. Buffalo. Interesting.
I know. Interesting choice, right?
Well, he didn't have any choice what he turns into. He just turns, right?
I don't know. I
Not
guess.
his fault he's a buffalo.
I guess. I guess you can't. Something in your mind would make
maybe
you go
he
to
was a great white buffalo.
Or maybe he's a Bills fan.
Right. Well, the doctor and the cop agree to go to Landwelly to look at the crypt of Lawrence Talbot to see, because he mentions we'll go to the crypt and see if there's anyone in there.
See if there's a body. Right.
Right. Because it's me and I'm not there. So they agree to go. Next we see.
How far away do you think it is?
I don't know.
Wouldn't you think you'd just call the police station and say, hey, go see if there's a body in that grave? They have to see for themselves. They don't trust anyone, I guess.
It's 54 miles, Karen.
Okay, not too bad.
54 and a half miles from. Well,
I guess it couldn't be that far.
Taking the interstate, Karen.
Because
as the crow flies, it may be a little shorter, but
Larry got there. Right. So in a night, that's pretty good. 54 miles in a night.
So next they go there and they see the crypt has been broken into when they arrive. And they notice that the door is broken from the inside, Karen. And they find the body of the grave robber lying there. It's
an extra body on the ground.
Unburnt.
Well, I didn't see him. Did you see him?
Yeah, they showed him briefly. And the cop knows who he is.
Right. A local vagrant.
Yeah. And the doctor says he has a severed jugular vein. That's when you see him, when the doctor kneels down to look at him.
Oh. And the bite of an animal.
The local cop goes on to tell them of the wild animal that went on a killing spree a few years ago. Next, the doctor asks to see a photograph of Lawrence Talbot because, of course, his crypt is empty.
In the story, he talks about John Talbot and how John thought he killed the animal, but he actually killed his son. And then John's no longer with us because he died from grief.
The doctor and the cop want to bring the local police officer to Cardiff to see if he can identify the patient, if it is not Lawrence Talbot, which I don't know why we never saw the picture of Lawrence they were looking at, but they do say it does resemble him, but I can't swear to it, right?
Well, if you recall, the picture over the fireplace of his brother looked an awful lot like him. So
it's true.
It's hard to say, but you would think they could tell, but no.
But they have photographs, Karen.
They do.
I'm pretty sure. That's because they have telephones. I'm sure they have photographs.
No, they do have photographs. I'm not saying. Okay. I'm just saying that
it's
they
not just
didn't.
A painting. It's not an impressionist painting.
They're holding it. They're holding it.
I know, but we never see it, so we don't know what it looks like.
No, but I'm just saying I'm not saying they don't have photographs. I'm just saying that they couldn't 100% say it was him. And I'm just relating that back to the picture over the fireplace looked a lot like him. So maybe it's blurry, or maybe he looks like a lot of people. I don't know. Not everybody's as unique looking as you, Greg.
True. That's true, Karen. Thank the Lord.
Not everybody got as lucky as you.
So next, the doctor calls back to Cardiff to find out how Larry is. And he is told that he tore off his straitjacket and escaped. Apparently, he bit through it with his teeth. But next, we cut back to the gypsy camp. And there's a dog barking, and then Larry walks up.
As Larry, just to be clear. Yeah.
Larry asked to see Maliva, the gypsy woman from the first film, Karen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Larry says he has looked all over Europe for her. So there's been quite a time jump, I think. Right?
Okay. Yeah. Because I didn't understand that line either.
Yeah.
It's like, how is that possible?
He says, I heard you left England. I've been looking all over Europe for you. Is what he says.
So it's been less than a month, though, I would guess.
Mm-hmm. Who knows?
Well, that's true. You don't know, but.
Don't know. And Larry asked for Maliva's help. He wants to die. He's looking for Dr. Jack. And Maliva.
It's like okay, just got that. Sorry.
Yeah. Maliva agrees to watch over him and show him the way, just as she did her son, who is responsible for turning Larry into werewolf. Her son, Bela. Correct, Karen?
Correct. She says she will guard and take care of him.
She knows a man who can help. Next, we see traveling.
A traveling montage. They're going far.
And I kind of thought that they may have been getting closer as they traveled, like, as you would. You know what I mean? Just friendlier, more.
I thought you meant closer. Of course they're getting closer. They're traveling in the wagon.
On an emotion.
You mean personally.
Karen. Yes. Come on, Karen. I'm talking emotionally. Don't you know me by now?
Yeah, that's why I thought you meant getting closer to the destination.
No, they're bonding, Karen. They're bonding.
That's okay. Yes, I believe so too. Well, it's just those two for an exceedingly long period of time.
Eventually, they arrive at a town and they go into a pub, Karen. And
they are not well received.
Well, they're strangers. Everyone, entering a pub, everyone stops to stare.
And they're gypsies.
And just like the Bob Seger song says, you feel the eyes upon you.
But they know it's a woman and a man.
Yes, they do. And they ask about Dr. Frankenstein. If anyone can direct them to Dr. Frankenstein. And they are told that Frankenstein died in a fire. And they leave the pub because people aren't happy they're there.
Well, they aren't happy they're there, and they consider Frankenstein. Yeah, they think he's a mad scientist, not a good guy.
Yeah, he brought their village nothing but pain.
And the proprietor is a racist. So there you go.
But really, there was only one death, really, right, Karen? Just a little girl.
Yeah, but, one's enough.
Next, we see it's a full moon again. And as Larry and the gypsy woman are in their cart, Larry jumps off the cart and runs into the woods. And he turns.
Yeah, at least he didn't kill her.
And runs away.
Which
I think is odd.
That he didn't kill her?
Yeah. Because isn't it the werewolf? Isn't its goal to kill the thing it loves the most?
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
So at this point in time in the movie, wouldn't probably Maliva be the thing he loves the most?
If they were being consistent, yes.
No, he just runs off.
He does.
And he kills the bar wench, apparently.
No, I didn't know who it was.
Yeah, because next we hear a wolf howl and we see the townspeople carrying the bar wench who was lighting candles in the bar earlier.
Oh, okay. Is that who it was?
Yeah.
It's a young woman.
And I wrote angry townspeople.
So did I.
They wonder if the monster has returned. And we hear another wolf howl. And they say, oh, it could be a wolf. It must be a wolf. And they decide to go after it.
Well, they say the girl died from animal bites. And someone thinks that it could have been the monster, but someone else says, no, they found his bones and buried them. And they say, how do you know it was his bones? And
Yes, they say. People say.
but somebody says, well, what animals are around here that can kill people? Cue the wolf howl. And then the mob instantly forms to go kill the wolf.
Go kill the wolf. And we see the townspeople, and they're chasing Larry through a set which I thought was very similar to the cemetery we saw earlier. Because as Larry runs up those couple flights of steps, tombstones are gone, and they shoot at him, and it appears he is hit, at least winged, right?
Yeah.
And he runs away, and he falls through a hole in the ground.
He runs to the castle ruins, and then he falls through the floor.
And he can't find a way out, Karen. He's caught in a trap, and he can't get out.
Aren't you going to sing it again?
No, not this time.
Oh.
I'm not even sure anyone heard it the last time.
They did.
And the townspeople find Maliva, the gypsy woman.
When he falls through, there's snow everywhere.
There is.
Which was weird. Like, why is there were no snow anywhere outside, but he falls through the floor and there's snow. And then the crowd takes the poor old gypsy woman.
Yeah.
Because that's all they can find, and they're a mob, so they want something. So
That's
they
right.
grab her.
And here's where I made a note that the town's police officer looks a lot like a Nazi, Karen.
No, I didn't.
Which I thought was very interesting for an American film made in 1943. He's wearing a very Nazi-like uniform. But they take the gypsy woman into town. Next, we see Larry, and he's waking up.
He's waking up face down, half in a creek, half in the snow and ice.
Yes.
You ever done that?
No, Karen, not that I can remember.
And wake up alone. It's like he's waking up in the gutter. You know what I mean?
Yes, Karen.
Then he starts to look around.
Yeah, and it looks like a dungeon. We don't know what it is exactly yet, but right? But it looks like a dungeon. And he finds a figure, it appears, Karen, encased in ice.
He walks to what looks like a window. It almost has light behind it. I thought it was a window, thinking this is going to be his way out, but it's an ice window. So he starts removing the snow and ice around it, and then it becomes a little clearer what's behind it.
Yes, and it appears to be Frankenstein's monster, or some facsimile of it, correct?
Yes.
And as Larry breaks the ice around the monster, it awakes.
The monster's cryopreserved,
Yes.
basically. So do you want to know who the first person to be cryo?
Well, first, I have some things to say about the monster.
Okay, go ahead.
The makeup is not nearly as good as the original, Karen.
No, he looks a lot like the head of the Munster clan.
If he was on Face Off, was a character on Face Off, they would rip it to pieces because all the seams are visible.
What is Face Off? Is it a show?
Face Off, Karen, was a show on the Sci-Fi Channel where makeup artists competed for a prize. So his seams were not blended. Like you could tell the bolts on his neck were prosthetics. You could see the seams.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They weren't, nothing was, it's pretty shitty. That's all I'm going to say.
He looks like Herman Munster. Don't you think?
Well, no, he doesn't look near as good as Herman Munster.
Oh,
I think Herman Munster I would prefer Herman Munster. This was just, it was just bad. And who plays the monster in this film, Karen?
Poor Bela.
Yes, Bela Lugosi.
Sometimes I just think they were trying to give him crappy parts. I don't know. Like they didn't really like him or something.
But you were going to say something before I interrupted.
It's not his best outing. Let's just say that. No, I just was saying that the monster's frozen in ice.
Yes,
so I made me curious.
Cryogenic, right?
Yes. Who the first person was that was, is cryogenically preserved.
Can I take a guess?
Sure.
Are you asking me?
It's not Walt Disney.
Okay, then I don't know.
It's James Bedford. a psychology professor at the University of California. He was cryopreserved in 1967 at 73 years old. You can take a guess. The latest
But they
figure I
do
saw.
that right after you die, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I mean, they don't kill you, right? You die, then they freeze your ass, correct? They don't.
It's not
freeze your
exactly
ass till you
freezing,
die.
but no, he died of cancer. Just out of curiosity. And the latest number I have was from 2014. So in 2014, how many people would you guess, or how many bodies are cryopreserved in the United States?
In the United States, Karen?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say 667.
250.
How many?
250
in
2014. It's very expensive to maintain it. When it was popular, there were a lot of facilities. I think it's now down to like 3. Everybody's consolidated in like 3.
Is that something you would ever consider, Karen?
No.
No.
When I'm gone, I'm gone. Don't bring me back. What about you?
I suppose. I guess I agree. So next, Larry asks the monster. Apparently he knows it's Frankenstein's monster. I guess because, that's just general knowledge, right, Karen?
I guess.
Asked him to show him where the doctor might have kept his notes because he probably knows.
That was the most ridiculous thing. Show me where the notes are. And Frankenstein's monster can't speak.
But he does the whole arms out straight ahead. And
well, I read about that. Did you?
No.
Okay, so
I'm kind of thinking this is where it comes from.
It is. That's what I always, when toddlers are doing the Frankenstein walk, that's what they do. Their arms are out and they're kind of leaning forward.
Because Boris didn't do it.
No, because in a film between that one and this one, and I can't recall which one it was, they put a new brain into the monster and he's blind. So in this movie, Bela is
blind in this movie.
He's supposed to be.
No.
But they took it out. Like
Okay.
they took out all his dialogue and they took out the fact that he was blind. But Bela played it like he was blind. That's why his arms are outstretched, because he supposedly can't see.
Okay.
But he was ridiculed for the performance for that.
Well, yeah.
But he was playing it like he was blind.
Okay.
So I don't know what's the right phrase, because they took out all his dialogue. So his lips move sometimes, but no sound comes out.
Uh-huh.
And he's walking in that very strange way. They threw him under the bus.
But the monster leads Larry to a secret compartment in what appears to be the remains of a library. And they find a steel box with a padlock on it. And Larry busts it open. And he digs through all these papers. He doesn't seem to look at them too much.
I know,
but
he doesn't
immediately
look at any of
knows,
them.
I don't need this. This isn't what I need. No, not this, not this.
They kind of look like they might be letters, like correspondence. But
Maybe.
You're right. He doesn't pay any attention. He just throws a temper tantrum and says, I don't need any of these things, and doesn't even look at them. Somehow he knows that those aren't the notes.
These aren't the notes we're looking for.
Yes.
But Larry does find a picture, Karen, of a fair young maiden.
A very glamorous maiden.
And it says, to my father, love Elsa. And Larry decides that she must know where the diaries are kept. Apparently she is Dr. Frankenstein's daughter, even though whatever.
Yeah, it maybe in a movie between the first and this one, he has a daughter. But it was also strange to me, because why would she leave all that stuff in the decaying ruins?
Next, we see the mayor of the town, Vasaria, introducing Elsa to Larry. Apparently, Larry has said he wants to buy the property, and the mayor has arranged an introduction.
Well, it's clever, because Larry asked the mayor to give him her address. And of course, the mayor says, I'm not going to give you that. I don't know who you are. And then he comes up with the plan. Well, I want to buy the property. So if he says that to the mayor, then the mayor is going to get the daughter to come into town so they can talk about it. So it's a clever plan.
But Larry is now using the name Taylor instead of Talbot.
I don't know why, but okay.
And he asks the mayor if he can see Elsa alone, if they can discuss this alone. So the mayor leaves the room, and then Larry explains that he wants to see her father's records about life and death and the creation of the monster. He doesn't want to buy her property at all. He just wanted to get this meeting to find
It's all
this
a
shit.
ruse.
She says she has no records from her father. And even if she had them, she would have destroyed them.
She says she hasn't been back since the house burned down.
Yes. But it's a very special time, Karen, in the town of Vassaria. Apparently, they've arrived just at the point of the Festival of the New Wine.
Woohoo!
Woohoo! And the townspeople are dancing in the street, as they always do in these Frankenstein movies.
They both stay for the celebration.
Yeah, the mayor invites them both to stay. Next, we see dancing and singing.
Yeah, some weird song that lasts way too long.
Karen, it's a folk song called Faro La Faro Lee.
You want to hum a few bars?
No, I do not. But it is a life-affirming folk song, Karen, apparently. But some of the lyrics offend Larry.
Larry's touchy. He has a lot of little temper tantrums in this movie.
Like one of the lines is, "May they live eternally, for life is short, but death is long." And when Larry hears that, he loses it, Karen. He and Elsa are sitting at a table, and the man comes up and sings these things to him.
Yeah, they're sitting there very awkwardly listening to him. And then Larry loses his shit. And everybody just kind of looks at him.
Yeah, he says he doesn't want to live forever. He wants to die.
And then a man recognizes Larry.
Yes.
And I said, "Is it the doctor?"
Yes, it is the doctor. And he confronts Larry. And Larry tries to tell him, no, his name is Taylor, not Talbot. But the doctor knows better, Karen. So Larry says, "All right, come sit down. This is Elsa." All right. Invites him to sit with him.
Because he said, "How did you find me?" And he said he just followed all the murders in the newspapers.
Yeah, so it's been months, right?
Yes, yeah. Well, there was that traveling montage.
Right. But I think you said originally it's been 30 days. Well, no, it's been months months and months.
I thought when he went to the gypsy, it was 30 days, but this has been months. Yes.
True.
So he left the gypsy woman every time he turned then. He jumped out of the cart and ran away. Because
or all those murders could have been when he was trying to find the gypsy woman.
Oh, could be.
And it just took 30 days once he got the gypsy woman to when they were almost to.
That's true. He was looking all over Europe. You're right. It probably is that.
Yes, Karen.
So yeah, they just have him join at the table.
Yep. Have some wine.
But they want to talk. Just the two of them. So what happens? Do you know?
Well, the mayor comes up and asks Elsa to dance.
And they dance
polka, Karen?
Yes, they dance a polka.
Okay, cool.
I liked her dress. She looked very pretty, I thought. She was dripping in diamonds. They wanted to show she had a lot of money. She was in a very pretty white dress. But they made her look rich compared to the rest of the people there. Most of the people were in traditional outfits. I didn't see lederhosen, but that type of almost, I don't want to say peasant outfit. What is that what you would call it though?
I guess.
And she's looking glamorous in a gown and jewels. So she really stands out.
But the doctor wants to take Larry back to England to treat him. He still thinks he's a lunatic.
Larry just wants to die.
And he tells the doctor that Dr. Frankenstein's notes about life and death will help him to die.
And all the time they're talking, there's this mountain of a man standing behind this tiny little tree, listening.
with a handlebar mustache.
Yes.
The pub owner.
He overhears the conversation, but he's hiding behind it's like a cartoon. He's hiding behind this tiny tree, and he's a huge man.
Yeah, with probably a couple steins of the finest ale in the town in his hands. He hears all that and walks away. But next, Karen, Frankenstein monster arrives. He's wondering what Larry's been up to, apparently. Because apparently they're buds.
Monster has come to town, and everyone goes nuts.
Yeah, and there's mass hysteria, I wrote.
Mm-hmm.
But Larry grabs the monster, and they ride away on a wagon of wine barrels. And the monster tosses some out, so as the villagers cannot chase them.
I think they were empty. No wine was spilled in the filming of this scene.
Next, we see the angry townspeople meeting at the pub. And we learn that they have tried to find Larry and the monster, but they have failed. Pub owner wants to bring in Elsa. Why she's so fucking special, Karen? She's just another fucking Frankenstein, right?
Yeah, the crowd turns on Elsa.
Pub owner says not to trust her. They bring in the gypsy woman. They don't want to trust her either.
The Baroness and the doctor have made a love match. Did you notice that?
A little.
In 15 minutes that they've known each other.
A little. Nah. It's a...
No, he's protecting her.
It's a... So they have an emotional relationship. Not a physical one.
Yeah, they've only known each other 15 minutes.
She's like his work wife.
No, they've just met. And already they're touchy-feely. He's protecting her. He's got his arm around her. He's telling the crowd to stay away from her. He doesn't know her. For all he knows, she's in on it. Whatever. They just pair them up. They're a couple. Trust me.
They are. The doctor, whose first name is Frank, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know till later. But Elsa and the gypsy go look for Larry.
Well, because they have this conversation in the restaurant where the mayor says, instead of choosing violence, let's try a different approach and befriend them, get to know them, find out what they're doing, and then basically foil their plan.
So the doctor, Elsa, and the gypsy, Maliva, go look for Larry. And they find him.
Right away.
Not a problem.
Nope.
And Elsa agrees to show Larry her father's diary. But Frankenstein's monster does not trust them, Karen. He grabs a big log and raises it as if to strike. But Larry tells him they are friends. And he lowers his hand and Larry takes the log.
The doc does a quick exam of the monster.
Larry tells the monster that the doctor is there to make him well. Didn't know he was sick, but that makes the monster agree to be examined. And the doctor does a quick exam of the monster. And Elsa goes to the secret compartment they had found earlier in the library, Karen. But she pulls a chain which reveals yet another secret compartment.
The secret compartment.
Another secret compartment, which holds the diary. And it holds the secret of life and death, apparently. So the doctor reads the diary.
Can you see him already starting to get a little...
Well, his name's Frank. I was smelling sequel already, Karen.
He's coming under the spell of this.
I need a doctor to pick up the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
I'm already smelling sequel, which I know you were pleased.
They're showing him slowly kind of succumb to the glamour of this life and death thing. You know, he's
being a curator, creating life.
I mean, he's a scientist, so he's intrigued, but
he wants to play God, as all scientists do, Karen.
But he's reading the diary and it says the monster will never die unless, and he pauses because he has to turn the page.
That's what I wrote. But he says, my creation can never perish unless, turn the page.
I thought that was kind of funny scene.
Its energies are drained off artificially by changing the poles from, he says plus to minus, but I wrote positive to negative.
You got all technical.
I got all techy on him, yeah. Larry is not pleased, Karen. He wants to know how to end his life. Next, the doctor continues reading from the book, and it says, energy which cannot be destroyed can be transmitted.
Or transferred. What does it say?
I don't know.
Transmitted? I had
I wrote
transferred.
transmitted.
Oh,
But this is when Larry says the energies of his body can be drained also then. And he asks the doctor to help him fix Frankenstein's machines so he can help him. And the doctor looks around and he says, that shouldn't be too hard to reconnect these wires.
machines weren't damaged in the fire.
Just connect these wires. It'll be fine.
I just said Doc is becoming enamored with Frankenstein's research. He's very interested in this diary. And the Baroness can see it. Elsa can see him being drawn in by the diary, by the power.
Next, we see shipping containers being hauled through the town, going to the doctor. And again, the Nazi is walking in the town. And he goes into
they're
the pub.
suspicious. Yeah, they don't like it.
Pub owner is still at it, I wrote. He doesn't trust the doctor. He wants to blow up the dam and drown them all like rats.
I called him the drunk, angry guy.
And the mayor says, you're drunk. Otherwise, I would arrest you for conspiring to kill them. Mayor says he'll decide what they do. Next, we see Larry and the doctor. And Larry reminds the doctor, hey, you have to do this tonight, bro. Otherwise, you may all be dead, right?
Right. TikTok.
And he asks about the progress of the machines. Elsa tells the doctor that Larry is insane. And then Maliva, the gypsy woman, comes in and says, no, he is not insane. He just wants to die.
Do you think Larry just wants to die?
Yeah, he just wants to die.
I'm pretty sure he wants
He's
to
already
die.
been dead for 4 years.
But I'm saying, they say that line. There must be 20 times somebody says he just wants to die, or he says it, or someone says it.
You know, it was a different time, I guess, Karen. People didn't want to die back in 1943. Like they do today. But the doctor fires at the machine, Karen. Elsa pleads with the doctor to clear the name of Frankenstein.
Well, she sees he's becoming obsessed with the whole thing.
And the doctor agrees to drain the energy of the monster that night. That's what he tells her.
Well, he's going to drain both of them, right?
That's what he tells her.
Yeah, that's what he says.
Next, we see Larry and the monster strapped to 2 tables.
Why are they unconscious?
Don't know.
It was strange.
And the doctor reads Frankenstein's diary about reversing the polarity, I wrote. That's what he's really doing.
Mm-hmm.
And just then, Karen, he has a change of heart.
Can't do it. He can't do it.
He can't do it. He can't destroy Frankenstein's creation. He must see it at its full force. So he goes and changes all the connections to the monster and Larry and fires up the machine.
Which Elsa hears
Yes,
while
and
she's sleeping in the ruins
yes,
in her glamorous gown.
and she awakes in her nightgown and puts on her sheer robe, Karen.
Yes. She's literally sleeping in the ruins. There's no window. It's just a rock formation, kind of 3/4.
I feel like her hair
away.
gets longer too.
I didn't notice, but
She's
maybe.
got like long braids coming down her chest now all of a sudden, but whatever. So Elsa enters and we see smoke coming from the electrodes in the monster's neck, and the monster starts twitching. But it kind of looks like he's saying things, like you said earlier, but they
He
just
is
like
saying
cut it out.
things. Yeah. No, I think I read that he's saying thank you, doctor, or something. He's thanking him for bringing him back.
But we see the townsfolk gathering again, Karen.
The town sees the lights on in the castle.
Yeah, that can't be good. Flashing lights up there in the castle.
And Elsa sees what he's doing, and he keeps increasing the power.
They
And
might be having a rave.
With a werewolf and a monster.
But Elsa looks concerned, and the doctor increases the voltage. And this is when Elsa realizes the doctor is making the monster strong again. She's not pleased.
Nope.
So she flicks a switch, and everything begins to spark. Next, we see the pub owner at the dam with dynamite.
Drunk, angry guy's going to blow up the dam.
And a full moon, Karen.
There it is.
So Frankenstein's monster breaks free and attacks the doctor and Elsa. And the monster picks up Elsa and begins to carry her away.
Did you see him going up the stairs? So she has this long flowing nightgown on, and he's doing a wide step up the stairs so he doesn't step on her gown.
Yeah, as you would. But Larry turns, Karen, and breaks free from his restraints. The monster drops Elsa and they fight.
He literally just drops her. I'm hoping there was a mattress or something. Well, Larry grabs the monster from behind and the monster just literally drops her. So, and she kind of rolls out of his arms. That's kind of funny. It's not supposed to be funny, but.
Yes. And we see the pub owner lighting the fuse to the dynamite at the dam, Karen. Cut back to the Wolfman and the monster fighting. The doctor and Elsa leave. They gone.
They kind of just walk out.
Yeah, all right. We're out of here.
Nothing to see here. Move along.
The dynamite blows a hole in the dam, Karen, and water starts rushing through the hole. The Wolfman and the monster fight some more. Eventually, the water rushes down and destroys what is left of the castle, Karen. The end. Credits with the smoky drink again.
I wrote the end, question mark.
Anything I left out, Karen?
No, I think you got it all there.
All right, Karen. Anything you were pleasantly surprised or especially enjoyed in this film that your mother would have loved?
Oh, my mom just liked to laugh at them. I didn't know anything about it. I just knew it was something that she would have laughed at. So I was sort of pleasantly surprised because from the title, I thought the whole thing was going to be like a world wrestling thing, almost like a Godzilla versus Mothra or something. That's what I had in my head, that it was going to be somehow they were just going to fight all the time.
The movie is an hour and like 13 minutes long. And we don't see Frankenstein until like 40 minutes in. Probably.
Yeah, almost exactly halfway in, he shows up.
And they're buddies. They don't.
Yeah, I didn't expect that. So, that was a pleasant surprise that it wasn't just to get the two characters together and just make them fight all the time. That's kind of what I thought it might be. So that was a nice surprise.
Anything else, Karen?
Not really. I liked the clothes. I liked Elsa's clothes, but that's.
What about her shoes, Karen? Anything about her shoes?
Didn't really see her shoes too much, but.
Okay. That's it? Nothing else?
No, what do you got?
Well, I think they did a better job of the transformation scenes for the Wolfman in this film than the original, or the previous one, not the original.
Previous one, yeah. I agree.
The previous
Lon Chaney,
Lon Chaney Jr., which is not his fucking name anyway.
It's not?
No, it's his screen name.
Oh. No, but wasn't his dad Lon Chaney?
Yeah, but do you know what his birth name was?
No.
Creighton Tall Chaney.
Tall?
Tull.
Oh, Tall.
Creighton.
Okay.
Creighton Chaney.
Well, that wasn't very nice of them.
So he said, you know what? I'm going to be Lon Chaney Jr. Screw you.
It can't hurt to jump on that bandwagon, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the transformation scenes were better. I don't think they're still not as good as Werewolf of London.
Agreed.
But they were better than the Wolfman. And that's pretty much all I got that I liked. Elsa was okay. All right. I don't know. Didn't really do it for me.
They all can't, Greg.
I know. Sadly, I know, Karen. I did like the doctor. I wish they would have emphasized his name more.
Because his name is Frank.
Yeah.
So if his last name
Frank
was Stein.
Mannering. Dr. Frank Mannering.
I had Mannering. I did have that down. Because it was close to Manning.
As soon as I heard Frank, I'm like, oh, sequel.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if was there one, Karen? Do you know?
I don't know. With him, you mean? I don't know.
I don't know. Let's see. I'm looking. Nope. There were no sequels to this.
We can make one with Elsa and Frank.
Yes. If we recast Elsa.
I thought she was pretty.
Yeah, she was fine. All right, Karen. Anything you were very disappointed in?
I think they did Bela dirty in this one. I think they had him play it a certain way and then changed it so he looked ridiculous.
You know what this reminded me of as far as Bela Lugosi's part?
Scooby-Doo.
Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Oh,
You know, where they
that
just
is
threw
where
him
the
in.
walk. Yeah. Well, they told him
in.
Well, they told him one thing and then completely redid it. I think the overall movie wasn't very good,
I agree.
but I think the worst part of it was Bela being the monster. But I think, like I said,
makeup was terrible.
well, that's
Terrible.
again not his fault. His makeup was terrible. His character motivation or whatever they said to him was terrible. And then they rearranged it, but didn't reshoot anything. So he was terrible.
He was just scenery in this. This was a Lon Chaney Jr. film, not a Bela Lugosi film. You know what I mean?
And they could have filmed it without him.
Yeah.
The werewolf could have just gone to the castle. I mean, you don't really need him.
You don't. I mean, they fight at the end, but they end up being drowned by water. So
but they could
neither
have
one of them kills the other.
They could have just had the Elsa take the doctor out, and the lights were still going on and off.
Like they could have had Elsa shoot Talbot with a silver bullet or whatever.
True, that would have been the easy way to do it. I don't know why no one thought of that.
I know. There were no guns in this film, Karen. Why didn't anyone have a gun?
But it's not like they didn't know how to kill a werewolf. They knew silver would work.
Yes.
Well, maybe he thought it wouldn't because his dad beat him with silver and nothing happened. So maybe that's why.
Because the silver was not impaled through his body, probably.
Well, you'd think if you shot him with the silver bullet in the heart and cut his head off, that ought to do it.
Yeah, that's what I would do, Karen.
Me too.
And I would use a silver knife too to cut off his head.
Yeah, and put it in a different place.
Yeah, separate them.
Yeah.
Maybe burn one of them. I don't know. Maybe burn them both.
Try all our zombie killing methods.
Can't hurt. Unless because there's ashes, like someone could come along and pour vampire blood on it and it rises again.
True.
Cut Christopher Lee's wrist and have him stand over the ashes. Could happen.
So besides the makeup, were you disappointed in anything else?
I could have, done without Bela, pretty much, like you said.
Well, I think if they had made his part better, it would have been better. But it just was ridiculous.
I agree.
It was ripe for a sequel, though. And it made money. This movie made money. So I was surprised they didn't move forward.
So they didn't make another one.
They could have made it better with the new and improved young doctor, and the Baroness has money. So it's a complete setup for a sequel. I mean, how much worse could it have been than this one? Again, this is another one we could remake. We could have done a better job. It's not quite as bad because the budget was obviously bigger. There were lots of actors and extras, and they reused a couple shots, but
the scenes were generally good. Even the matte paintings were good. They didn't have creases in them.
a low bar, but yeah.
I'm never crazy about water scenes in miniature because you can tell it's miniature. But yeah, it was fine for 1943 in the middle of a world war, Karen.
It was definitely escapism.
Yeah, I'm sure that's why it did well. If it did well.
I think I read it did well, but I'm not 100% sure.
People wanted to go to the movies and get away, right? Well, of course, the critics hated it.
But that doesn't always mean anything.
Doesn't.
Financially, anyway.
All right, Karen, what kind of cocktail rating are we giving this?
So if we're using the Wolfman as the middle, we gave that one a 3. And we gave Werewolf of London a 2. I think this one gets a 4.
I agree.
It wasn't very good.
Not so good.
Nope.
Nice try.
Yeah. If you have limited time, I wouldn't put this one on your list. I don't mind seeing it. They're fine. I like the
I will
old
say
ones.
the second half moved much quicker than the first. The first half did seem kind of dragged to me, but the second half kind of went quick. When it ended, I was like, oh, it's over already. But the first half, I was like, God damn, how many minutes do I have left in this?
They took a long time establishing that it was Talbot and he couldn't die. And, it was, they were kind of new back then. So you had to go over lycanthropy again.
Well, this was the first of the, monster mashups.
But you still had to remind people what each aspect of it was. you had to establish that Frankenstein was a mad scientist, because what if you didn't know who Frankenstein was?
Yes, you could.
What
So
if
Frankenstein came out in 39. Is that right? And the Wolfman came out in 41. And this was 43. So it'd been a few years since each of them.
But still, it's not, I don't know if it was as ingrained in the culture as it is now.
True.
But you're right. It did pick up a little. And I thought they were really, like you said, preparing us for the sequel, because we had the guy, he was totally under the spell. He was going to do it, but one look from Elsa and he's like, oh, all right. And walks off.
She flipped the switch.
True. She took away all the power, but he didn't get angry. He just said, okay. And they walked away.
True.
That's what the love of a good woman can do.
Comments on the drink, Karen.
I like the drink, but it's sentimental.
The gin and tonic.
What'd you think?
It's good. Or it was good.
I agree, though. I think it's more of a summer refreshing drink after your thirsty work.
Yeah, I have lots of thirsty work to do next summer, Karen, just so you know.
You have lots of drink choices.
All right, Karen, anything we learned today?
We learned that a lot of famous people were born in 1943.
Yeah, we did.
We learned who the first person who was cryogenically frozen.
Yeah, some cool inventions too in 1943, Karen. Slinky and silly
Oh,
putty,
yeah.
LSD.
We learned that lycanthropy is a real diagnosis.
It is.
Not specific to wolves, but you can imagine yourself as anything, any animal, even a buffalo.
Maybe even a great white buffalo, Karen.
That would be your choice.
It would be. If I was going to turn into a buffalo, I would turn into a great white buffalo.
I mean, you're not going to be a run-of-the-mill buffalo, Craig.
Oh, no, Karen. I'm going to be a great white buffalo.
You're going to be a beautiful, unique, extra large buffalo.
Anything else we learned?
I don't think so.
The poem changed.
The poem did change.
Nothing else we learned? I feel like there should be more. We kind of learned what lunatic means, right?
True. We did.
We learned that Frankenstein had a daughter, Elsa. Not to be confused with, I guess, the frozen Elsa, because I've never seen that shit. Are there any similarities, Karen, do you know, between this Elsa and the frozen Elsa?
Elsa had white blonde hair. So there's that.
Yes, she did. And it is braided.
Right.
At points.
But she was the one who had magical powers, who could freeze everything. So beyond the hair and being pretty, I don't know.
All right, Karen, anything else about this film we need to cover?
I don't think so. I don't think we need to spend any more time on this film.
Okay. So I believe the next film is my choice, since you chose this one.
Yeah, so the pressure's on to pick a better one.
Ooh. So the film I have chosen, Karen, with some help.
Okay.
Is from 1981, Karen. Keeping with our wolf theme in January.
Is this our last wolf one?
This is our wolf finale, Karen.
Nice.
For the month of January. From
I hope that everybody's loved it.
From 1981, Karen, An American Werewolf in London, which was suggested to us by Marty Freed on YouTube. Marty, yeah, for sure. That's the way you say his name, Marty.
Okay.
The last name I'm not sure about, but yeah, Marty. Marty asked quite a while ago if we were going to do this film. So here we are, Marty. We're doing it.
It's all your fault.
It is one of my favorites. I did tell him at that time it is. Have you seen this film, Karen?
I've seen parts of it. I'm not sure I've seen all of it, but I know I've seen pieces.
I believe it's directed by John Landis.
I think I may have seen it all. We'll have to see. Do we have a drink, Greg?
Why, yes, Karen, we do. We have the Wolf Howland cocktail.
Oh, no.
Why do you always say that when I say my drinks?
Because I can tell by the name of that one.
You're afraid that all the drinks I choose are nothing but alcohol. No mixer, right?
All right, what do we got?
All right, Karen.
Is it all alcohol and no mixer?
So we're going to need vodka.
Okay.
We're going to need curacao liqueur. We're going to need white cream de menthe or mint liqueur.
I almost picked this one for last week.
And finally, Karen, we need some Sprite.
No squirt.
Well, you can use squirt, I guess, if that's what you have. Recipe calls for Sprite.
Okay. It's called what again? I'm sorry.
The Wolf Howland cocktail.
Okay.
I mean, it's a couple ounces of alcohol and Sprite. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Kids drank all the Sprite, so I'll have to get some more. But otherwise, I think I have everything.
Okay, cool. Anything else, Karen? Anybody need to thank?
Well, we need to thank Libby, right?
Yeah, I was going to if you didn't.
Apparently, you can give us 5 stars on Facebook.
Yes, just like Libby did.
We didn't know you could do that.
But apparently, Karen, a new feature on Spotify is that you can now leave reviews.
Really?
Which you could not before, but you can now.
Oh, people, get on it.
So all our Spotify listeners, I know there's at least 20 of you, I think. Leave us a review on Spotify. I can't tell you exactly how, but apparently it's a new thing. Hopefully you know by now. Karen, apparently my son John listens on Spotify.
I look forward to his review.
Yeah, I told him, well, leave us a review. Because I said, you get mentioned quite a bit.
Watch, he'll only give the stars to the ones where we say his name.
He says, yeah. So, yeah, but apparently that's a kind of a new thing on Spotify. New in the last month or so. So, yeah, leave us a review wherever you find our podcast or listen. That would be great, right, Karen?
Absolutely.
Even if it's just stars. All right, Karen, anyone else you need to thank besides Libby?
No, I'm just extra thankful for Libby.
Okay.
For more reasons than just her leaving a review.
Yes, I know.
Because I know Libby and Libby's awesome.
Of course, I need to once again thank verse 13, Karen.
Why, Greg?
Because, Karen, all the music in the Scary Spirits podcast is provided by verse 13. Anything else, Karen?
Please drink responsibly. And cheers to my mom.
Yes. Cheers, Mrs. Hudson.
You would have liked her.
I know. I would have.
Thanks for listening to the Scary Spirits podcast, where the movies might be iffy, but the drinks are always solid. We would love to hear from you. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Scary Spirits Podcast, or go to our website, scaryspirits.com. And if you want the direct line, email us at info@scaryspirits.com. If you really want to help us out, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. And remember, always drink responsibly. See you next week.